Good afternoon, everybody. For those that have joined us today for our DataSnapz demo, my name is Nancy Glenn. Again, I'm the Director of Customer Happiness. Hope everybody's happy after a nice weekend. We're going to record this demo, and we will send everyone that is participating here today a copy of that recording so you have that for future use. So for those that may not know who ardentCause is, we're a socially driven provider of data solutions for nonprofits and small to mid-sized organizations. We have several web-based platforms, one of which you're going to see today, and we also offer strategic consulting services in the event that others may need that. One of the questions that we have talked about, or we've been asked, is why do we create DataSnapz? Essentially, we saw an overwhelming need in the community, in the nonprofit sector specifically, for a method to track and report data that went beyond spreadsheets, was less than having somebody build a custom solution. So we think that we have achieved that with DataSnapz, and we're excited that we have been able to use that technology as part of the MatrixPath system update, which we're going to talk about. I'm going to turn it over right now to Kia Salahi, who is our CEO and Director of Technology, to talk about the benefits of the MatrixPath system update. So you know we're always available. We'll leave our contact information at the end. So thanks very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks, Nancy. This is Kia. So Nancy mentioned I just wanted to take a step back and say that if you have received the link on how to access the meeting, everyone here probably clicked the link so you can actually see my screen. There's also a dial-in number in case you want to ask questions. We will open it up for questions intermittently. There's also a chat icon on your screen, on the start meeting, kind of at the top of your screen. You can click that chat icon and go ahead and post questions. That way I can just go through those questions throughout the meeting. If you have questions at any time, feel free to use that chat icon, but I will open it up at the end for voice questions as well. To get back to the introduction here, thank you, Nancy, for explaining a little bit about ardentCause. I think everyone here is mostly from the United Way group, so we are going to talk about the benefits of the MatrixPath system upgrade. So there have been a lot of support requests for new features for the users who are using MatrixPath. Now, MatrixPath is a custom solution specifically for self-sufficiency data tracking and really nothing more. It tracks self-sufficiency data and then some other contact information. The difference between that and DataSnapz is DataSnapz is a very general data collection platform that can be used for all kinds of different purposes. And it contains all of the benefits that people have been asking for MatrixPath. DataSnapz is a new platform for us, but there are current users of it. So I did want to talk about the benefits a little bit. The email that went out to all the MatrixPath users did contain a PDF document that kind of explained in detail all of the areas that are going to benefit from using DataSnapz. Built a data collection application, and it also has some reporting features and other stuff in there. So if you want to look more specifically at those, you can look at the PDF, but I will mention some of them right now, and then we'll go into a demo of the application where you'll be able to see some of them. So there's going to be a dashboard. When you first sign into DataSnapz, there's a personalized dashboard that's specific to the data that's being collected. DataSnapz allows for additional data collection as opposed to just the self-sufficiency data. So if there's any organizations that are using multiple databases that track different things, or if there's some stuff that's not being tracked electronically, we can add that into DataSnapz, and we can we can have a personalized dashboard specifically for those items and outcomes as well. So that's the dashboard. Moving on to the data input forms. The forms are very similar to what you would see in MatrixPath. However, they're more modernized. They only show questions when they're necessary, so it's intuitive. It shows it's kind of faster. It speeds up that time. There's grouping, logical grouping of questions. There's autosave. I'll show you some other stuff when we go in there. There's probably the biggest thing. It's the biggest benefit for users coming from that system would be the report builder. You can build your own reports using the report builder. They're tabular reports, and all users can build a number of reports, and then you can run them at any time in the future and edit them and share them with other users. You can download that data. All the data that's tracked in your system can be made into your own custom report. And then there's other stuff like your data table access, which we'll get into in the demo. And then there's more profile management stuff, which is not very, this is not the most glamorous. So you can look at the details again in the PDF that we sent. If you did not receive that, however, you can let us know through our contact, and we can also send you that document. Okay, so I'm going to switch to show you a demo of the application. How do I go full screen here? Okay, so on DataSnapz.com, the first thing you see is your dashboard, like I mentioned before. This account that we're going to be demoing today is for the Apogee library, which is not your organization, or it's not even similar to self-sufficiency data. It's a library that tracks books and films and customers, and they check out books and films to those customers. So they, as you can see in the charts here, they track certain things like book club members, books checked out, books shipped out. The line chart here shows some interactivity. It's just a demo of the interactivity chart. So there's three things on this chart. There's books checked out by sci-fi books, love books, and education. Those are the categories. And if you want to hone in on just two of those or just one of those, you can easily do that on the options on the charts. If you think this chart is easier to see as a bar chart, there's an option right on the chart that changes the bar chart. You're not affecting anyone else's view, however, because the default of this can always go back and you click the default there. So there's interactivity on the dashboard. However, it is based on the data in the system, and every time you reload it, it will reload from the way you saw it last. You can also save a picture. If I was to click this button, it would just open this image up, so you can put it in email or a PowerPoint. Additionally, you can actually see the data in the chart. If you want to copy that out, put it into Excel, or do something else with it. Just an example of some of the dashboard elements you can look forward to. So all of these dashboard elements will be based on your MatrixPath data. I just want to make that clear for those of you that are coming from MatrixPath. And if you do have additional, so there's options for multiple dashboards. If you do track other data outside of self-sufficiency data or have other outcomes that you want to track, we would show that on additional dashboards. So that's how you do that. So beyond dashboards, I'm going to show you how the data collection works. When I click Add Data, there are 5 forms in here available: book checkout, film, members, and survey. Survey is probably going to be closest to what you're used to from the self-sufficiency assessment. So I'm going to click that, load that up. Actually, you know what? I lied. I'm going to look at the films. So if I was adding a film as the library, this is the form I would see. Not very creative today. New film name. So I just wanted to demonstrate some of the features of the new forms. So if you notice after I typed in new film name, that form field turned green, that means that the form has saved my progress so far. All I did was type in that information and move on to the next cell. So for instance, year released, if I try and type in letters, notice how it does not let me type in those letters. It will only accept a valid year. And if I type in any more information, it's not letting me do it. And then once I navigate away from that cell, the field turned green again. That's showing the autosave again. So if I was to get kicked off, or if I lose connection to the internet, or I get distracted and I get signed out, when I sign back in as, I'm actually signed in as Nancy, so when I sign back in as Nancy, it will pick me up right where I left off, and it will tell me a message at the top saying that you are, this is a draft that you started on this date. Would you like to continue? So, and it shows the same data where just right where I left off. That becomes really useful for the much longer forms that have dozens and dozens of questions. When you're halfway down the form and you get kind of kicked off and you have to reload or sign out and sign back in, it will pick you up right where you left off. In addition to that, there is the feature where the form will only show you data that is relevant. So if I was to select the rating of G, then the other question that was there kind of goes away. So if I say PG-13, you see select all rating details that apply. So for movies, if you're rated G, there's no rating details as to why it's G. But if it's PG, there's two reasons. It could be violence or language. PG-13, you notice it kind of grows as that drop down. So it's showing me only the information that is relevant. And then does it have special features? If I say yes, it's another demonstration of that. I can identify what the special features are. Okay, so and you can see that green check also telling me that it's auto-saved my progress. If I clicked save and continue, and you notice that section collapsed, and it's showing me the next section. So a lot of you are familiar with the self-sufficiency assessment, where there's a lot of categories, and kind of the previous version of the MatrixPath form shows you all those questions at the same time, whereas here it's only going to show you that category that you're working on at that particular time. I can go back to the previous section if I want to and see what I submitted and then move forward to the next section. So it's a lot easier to see multiple pieces of data all in one screen there without having to kind of lose your track of where you are. And just want to make sure I covered all my points here. I know it's the data form, but I think I covered everything here. I'm just going to switch over to see if there's any questions. No, it looks like we're good. Okay, and feel free to use the chat bubble to ask questions. I'm just going to keep checking that as I go. That's good for now for the data submission. I'm not going to submit that because it's going to actually go into my data. Next thing I'm going to show you is the data tables. So I'm going to click on films. This is the form that we did, was the add films. And now I'm going to show you the data tables. So I'm going to show you the data that is in my films table. If I was to submit that, that would be one more record that goes into my films table. This is the way that you would access all your raw data. You would make modifications to your data or download data. So administrators would have some additional administrators and regular staff can access this page, but administrators have additional things that they can do here. So I'm going to kind of show you some of those. So let's say, for instance, that I know this rating type is not PG. You can just click on the cell and change it to a different rating type as an administrator. If you are an administrator, you can also highlight this cell and delete the record, and it's going to say, "Are you sure you want to are you sure you wish to delete that?" I can highlight multiple and just also delete them right out of here. Are you sure you wish to delete those rows? I'm not going to delete them, but that's a very easy way to clear the data out. I know that was a big pain point for MatrixPath users. Another huge intuitive aspect of this table is the advanced search. So it's one search box, but it actually searches across the entire table, all columns, all fields. So for instance, if I want to, I think it's easier to see if I go to the employees table. I'm going to pick a different table. So bear with me one second. So this is an employees table. I'm going to demonstrate the search. So you notice that it's only showing right now 10, showing 1 of 10 entries of 57 total records that are in this table. I can go to different pages here, and they're just in order by first name right now. I can sort by different. If I just click here, it changes the sort order. But if I want to search, I can, let me put it back to first name. So if I want to see everyone in the Tokyo office, all I have to do is type in Tokyo. Oops, help if I spelled it right. So it found everyone in Tokyo. So let's say I want to only see my support. I can tell right here from this list that there's only going to be one. But if I want to see all my support engineers in the Tokyo office, I simply type in Tokyo and then support. And it's going to continue filtering my data across all the fields that match what I've typed in the search. So it's especially useful if you don't know which field you're looking for. So if I just want to type in support, it's going to find all the positions that are support. And if I want to say someone's last name, that, I think you get the point. You can do any combination of fields. You can do as many or as little. Obviously, the more information you put in that search box, the more it's going to filter. But it filters instantly. I'm not hitting enter or anything like that. It's just right as I type. So if I get the support out of there, Bruno is another one. So right as I type, it filters that data. So it's very fast. That's pretty much all there is here. You can also download this data as a CSV. It's going to download what you filtered. So I can click CSV, Excel, PDF. I can click New to add a new record. Or if I have one of these, a regular staff member, if they see an error in the data, I forgot to mention this, I'm sorry, they have to click Edit up here, and it will take them to the form. They can't edit right in the records like an admin can. They have to use the form, because the form has that kind of layout that guides them through it. I know I'm going a little fast. I'm trying to hit all my points, but feel free to ask questions again. I'm going to move on now from the data tables to showing you how to build, how to use the reports, the report builder. Now, in the sidebar under reports, if I click that, it's going to show me a list of all the reports that are available in the system right now. That means any reports that we, ardentCause, created for you, as well as any reports that your staff also created. If your report is not here, you can always just create a new report. Before I do that, I'm going to show you the All Reports page. Now, the All Reports page is just also another way to see all the reports kind of at a detailed view. What you're seeing here is a couple of reports created by our staff, Phil and Rosemary. These are just sample reports, obviously. These are the same ones that you see here, except for now I can see the description of the report. So when a user creates the report, they're asked to describe what the purpose of the report is, just so when other people are running it, they have an idea. And then I can view these reports at any time by clicking View, and it's going to run the new report, the new data. And I can even edit the settings of the report if I wanted to change that. So let me create a new one to show you how simple the process is. So it's a three-step process. It should be pretty clear where step one is, where it says choose a table. There's nothing else you can do until you choose a table. So first thing I'm going to choose is film. And the next thing that pops up it says choose the fields. And then all the fields in that film table are options for me to select on my report. If I wanted to pick, I think if I do checkouts, actually let's just stick with film. So if I'm just going to select in this choose the fields, option number 2, step number 2, I'm just going to select the fields that I want to show on my report. And what's happening here is the step number 3 is filling out with the 5 fields that I picked, and also the report preview at the bottom is showing me what the data in my tabular report would look like. Just the preview, so it only shows the top 10 records. But this is what my column headers are going to be. So if I wanted to just change, now notice I'm going to change film title. That's the name of the field. That's the name of the column on the table and the name of the column on my report. If I didn't want it to be called film title and I want it to be called name, for instance, it simply changed it right on my report preview. If description is not good enough for me, I want it to be more straightforward about changing film release year to year. You notice it's just changing on my report. And then additionally, you can also set filters for every field. You can set as many filters as you want. So if I only want to see a report that contains the name ACE, I would change the filter for name and say contains ACE. ACE. Now it did Ace Goldfinger, Bear Graceland, Dirty Ace. These are obviously not real movies, but it gives you an example. You have a lot of other filter options you can do in here. So if you have a date, for instance, the year, you can do year is greater than or equal to, less than. There's a lot of different filters you can do. You can do any combination of filters. So this report, all I've done is filtered name by ACE. So if I'm going to save this report, it's going to ask me to name my report and then describe what the purpose of my report is, and then it's going to put this in the, so I'm going to say films named ACE. Now that's not exactly correct, because anything with films containing the phrase ACE in it. So after I save my report, it is going to take me back to my report page. So if I go to my All Reports page, now you can see my new report is in here, Films Name ACE, and I'm logged in as Nancy Glenn, so you can see that. So that's the gist of it. There's a lot more administrative things you can do with DataSnapz as far as user management if you go into your user profiles. I'm going to just see if I have any questions here before we move on. Okay, so we have received 2 questions. I'm going to answer the first one. It says, are you able to show a self-sufficiency matrix? Unfortunately, I am not going to show the self-sufficiency matrix in this demo. However, when we get to when your agency is going to be transitioned, we will do another kind of a training, and then that will be more specific to the data that you're going to have, or your account. In that case, it will be self-sufficiency data. So if you have any questions about it, please contact us after the demo, and we can tell you in any more specific stuff. The other question I received was, what happens to my data when we move from MatrixPath to DataSnapz? That's a good question. All of your data from MatrixPath, so we're going to determine what your shutoff day will be for MatrixPath and the day you're going to start using DataSnapz. And then that will be the last day. For now, keep collecting all your data in MatrixPath, just like you normally are. And then we're working on scheduling of when you will be moved. And then we'll send you that schedule and the date. And then on that date, all your data from MatrixPath will be imported into DataSnapz. So you'll have all your latest data. It'll just be set up to contain all the same elements that's being tracked in MatrixPath, and all the data that you have in there will be moved. So I hope that answered the question clearly. So I'm going to turn it back over. Please feel free to continue asking questions. We have a couple more minutes. We're going to stay on the line after our 3 o'clock when it's over, but I just want to make sure we touch the rest of our talking points. I'm going to turn it over to Nancy now, and we're going to go back to the slides. Let me get out of this.
Thanks, Kia. As I mentioned, hope that was helpful. Kind of give you an overview of what the update's going to look like. We're in the process of putting in the self-sufficiency matrix itself. We'll be sending you the recording for the people that are on the call today. We have several more set up. So if you have any other individuals in your organization that are interested in seeing that, please share that with them. We would love to know if your organization is planning to continue using MatrixPath and DataSnapz. We're looking to the third quarter to get those organizations on DataSnapz and off and running. We're excited about the possibilities that it has for our organizations with this newer, updated platform. The other last thing I wanted to say is, again, this system is made to be able to expand the functionality. It's not only for self-sufficiency matrix projects, as MatrixPath was. So it has a much broader capabilities. So if there's things that you think you might want to do more with your system, you may want to add some things, you have another program that you think might be useful for tracking in DataSnapz, please let us know. We're here to help you. We want to make sure this is a good transition for everybody, for those that will continue using it. We think there's great benefit to continue using it, not only for United Way, but also for your organizations yourself. You'll have a lot more value to you as an organization in terms of keeping your data, tracking it, and reporting on that information. So please let us know either through info@datasnapz.com. I think most of you have my contact information at ardentCause. We're looking forward to continue working with you. And thank you so much. And we'll stay on the line if there's any other questions or feedback.
We did receive another question. The question was, is there an option to not make the transition from MatrixPath to DataSnapz? And the short answer is no. You will have a period of time, however, where you can push it off. So we'll let you do that. So as Nancy said, we're hoping to transition all the MatrixPath users into DataSnapz in Q3 of this year. So we can push that as far as you want. I understand that some of the users are concerned about training issues, but I did want to mention that there has been a lot of really good traction for DataSnapz. All the other custom systems that we have developed, we have transitioned them over to DataSnapz, and it's been a very successful and smooth transition. The new system does not require as much training. It's a lot more intuitive. Users are able to understand where to go next a lot easier, unlike MatrixPath, where you almost have to have a very specific way of answering things and looking things up. DataSnapz doesn't require as much training. So it's more feature-rich, but a lot of those features are optional. You don't have to make reports. You don't have to use the dashboard. You can continue adding data using the one add data form and not do anything else. Very similar to how MatrixPath worked as well. So any other questions regarding of what obstacles might come up during the transition, we're happy to answer those. Again, you have Nancy and my contact info, and you can always email info@datasnapz.com for additional questions. All right, thank you so much. That concludes our demo. Luckily, we had extra data points talking about MatrixPath today, and we were able to keep it under 30 minutes. We are very excited to continue working with you. I just wanted to say, and thank you so much for your time today. We're going to do these demos every Wednesday, so you are welcome to come back if you think of any other questions or want to see it again. And we're going to stay on the line for a little bit longer in case anyone has any other questions, but for now that concludes our demo.
Thank you.